was about to go through the thing.
All right,
well, boys.
cheers.
Prost,
Cheers.
as they say in Deutschland.
There we go.
So I suppose so far this is miserable. I suppose so far
I'm fine now. It's past. The worst is past.
our beers will stay colder in the water.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
I feel okay. Let's pretend that the pool's not here. Let's
Alright.
do that, shall we? So we had the group stage, which is concluded, right? And now today is Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So we. Why am I struggling to talk? It is.
Because you're a little bit cold.
Is it the alcohol chat or is it
I
the
think
cold
it's the
water?
Sip, it's the sip of the beer and,
The sip of the
and
beer has
probably
derailed you
the
completely.
cold water. When people stop and I want you guys, when someone comes by and looks at us,
Yeah.
we just stare back.
We stare back.
Let's
yeah.
stop everything
But,
we're doing and just stare back.
but until the end, until they
they
go
walk
all-
past.
Yeah, until they walk past all the way.
We'll troll some people. Okay, so group stage ended. Not other than biggest surprises.
I mean,
OG?
EG, is that what you said?
No, OG.
OG. Okay, why?
Because nobody expected him to be there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have given him like maybe 12th spot to be honest.
12th spot.
Didn't they have a terrible flashpoint?
Flashpoint sucked for them.
Dead last.
Yeah, but they
Deadlock.
lost to Vitality and who's the other team? They lost to like two decent teams, right? Like
Astralis, they lost to Astralis.
yeah, so it's
And now
it's-
look at G2's run, by the way, just because I was talking about it in contrast. These guys are in the semi-final. They've beaten Fun plus Phoenix and Extra Soul.
Oh yeah.
Plus, and won best of 3 versus Vitality. So, like,
Wait, watch them defend their boy Nico.
Wait.
No, I'm fine. Wait. Listen,
No. It doesn't make sense. If OG lost to Vitality and you consider, that's a difficult, run.
Sure.
And then G2 beat Vitality. They just get an easy run.
No, I
like it doesn't,
yeah, but the expectations are
please.
the expectations are different too. Like the expectations, especially in this tournament, for me for G2 are way higher. I expect them to win the tournament. Anything other than G2 winning the tournament is like a disappointing result for them.
Okay.
Because they had a couple of top 4 finishes, last 2 tournaments, right? Close games, close losses, great. They showed some great CS, beat some very good teams along the way, but they always crumble at like the crucial moment,
How
right?
long's it been since Kenny left now?
A
2
couple
months,
months.
maybe?
Yeah.
A couple of
Yeah.
months? Because I was talking about it. I was saying that, like, you have to attribute some time, right? So you have to give them some time to replace a player like Kenny S. And the fact that they were doing it with, not the best parts in terms of they had Jax and Amanek and they ended up choosing both, like.
I have to
You
remember
give them a month or two for that.
The
We
first
gave them a month or two.
the first intention from them was for Nico to up. So
Yeah.
first they had those couple of weeks where they tried going that way and then realized, well, maybe it's better that we kind of make Amanek deal with that and
Yeah.
just make Nico as
It's gonna take
much
one of your
comfortable
balls
as
out.
possible. Yeah, feel free.
But let me ask you this one though, because we're saying that G2, you're saying that G2, anything other than the win is a disappointment.
Yes.
But have they played the type of Counter-Strike this tournament so far that you think they can win?
Ooh.
At times, yes. Not throughout, not every single game all the time. But listen, for me, they played Extra Soul 16-1, destroyed them. FPX 2-1, but they seemed in control outside of Ancient, the first map, right?
Yeah.
And Vitality a pretty clean 2-0, right?
Excuse me? Pretty clean 2-0.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
5-10. It was 5-10 on Vertigo.
Vertigo
It
was close.
14 something, and then they turned it around.
That's true.
What?
They lost
How
a
many
lot of
maps did
clutches.
G2 win? How many maps did
That's
Vitality
not
win?
clean, dude.
How many maps?
This pool is cleaner than that.
Whoa, I wouldn't go that far.
It's actually filthy.
It's actually like, I hope people can't see the pool. But I mean, they took care of business, basically, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, for me, the only teams that G2 should really struggle against
Gambit.
are Gambit, Heroic, and Navi if they're on a good day, right?
You mean
like,
just in Counter-Strike in general right now?
yeah,
Okay.
basically,
But
right?
there's only Gambit to contend with.
Yeah, and they're probably going to meet them in the semifinals, right?
Yeah.
And if they lose to Gambit again, I can't say I'm done with this team, but it's like a huge disappointment. Remember DreamHack? They looked great. They looked great the whole tournament. And then they come against Gambit in the semis or quarters or whatever, and they get spanked 2-0.
Isn't it a pretty
like
short
that
list?
can't happen anymore to G2.
It's a very short list.
And
of
Gambit's the best
teams.
team in the world.
But it's a very short list of teams that have beaten
Yeah, but they're-
Gambit
but the
in the best of 3 series.
Yeah, but for them, the expectations are that high right now. That's the thing. It's not the G2 before Nico came in that's like, oh, we're fine if they're a dark horse, you're going to get some good wins. No, with Nico on the team, the expectations are we need to start winning trophies, right?
Yeah,
and that's what Nexa said in the interview.
Yeah.
Like, we were maybe a bit, everyone was trying too hard when we came to those final games because we really wanted to win. We know we have to start winning tournaments, not just making top 4. And now he said, like, their mentality has changed a little bit. They're just taking it one game at a time and just trying to play their best, which is the best way to go about it.
The thing is, like, I do agree, kinda, but I think the
Impossible.
G2, Mr. Pineapple Man.
And louder for us, Mr. Kassad. Don't forget.
So what I think now, G2 should be winning this event just because like they're in a perfect spot to do it. Like they're semi-finals, top 3-4 finishes in the last 3 tournaments. They're going to the boot camp.
Yeah.
They're right now in a boot camp,
Oh, that's true as well.
and
That is
Gambit
true, yeah.
isn't. You know,
Okay.
and it's the stage is set. You know,
Okay.
and if they don't win, Yanko is done with this game.
But you said you don't think the Counter-Strike they played so far.
It's not convincing. Like you remember Navi in Katowice playoffs last year?
Yeah.
That is a convincing Counter-Strike. Astralis Championship Counter-Strike, that's a convincing Counter-Strike. Gambit Katowice this year, that's a convincing Counter-Strike. G2 is playing close games-ish. Ish.
As we discussed.
And,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna give them 55% to win this one.
55%. Okay.
Why
That's
not 57%?
Are we just?
It's-
so
it's obscure.
particular.
But aren't we also
55.
assuming that that's for Vitality lose to Gambit in the quarters? Or have I got the bracket wrong in my head?
No, it's Vitality VP
yeah.
and
EG versus
EG Gambit.
EG, oh, so that's why we're assuming.
Yeah. We're
Okay, we're assuming EG have finished their little Cinderella. Should we talk about the Cinderella run?
well. Yeah. That's
For me,
a
that
surprise.
was you asked about the big. That's the biggest surprise
Yeah,
for
I
me.
thought so too.
It's not OG. It's EG making it to the playoffs and almost even like going straight to the semis, right? Like I mean, they played way better than I expected them to.
Yeah.
But
Chad too. He was actually surprised as we were commentating them, like
Yeah.
joyfully, blissfully surprised.
But it's because like the individuals in that team were showing up and it wasn't Breeze, right? For the longest time, it was Breeze, and then you'd get Cirque occasionally, you'd get Ethan occasionally, maybe Tarek would have a good game. But then it was like, okay, Obo on the CT side, where it is just locking down areas on the map, that's what he seems to be tasked with. He's doing a good job there. I think we had moments from Cirque. Wasn't Breeze the lowest rated player for them other than Stan?
Yes, indeed. He's the lowest rated player for EG for this tournament, and even the highest rated is Obo. I believe he's 24, and Cirque is the next one, and he's like 30 something. So what that means basically is they didn't make it this far thanks to a mad individual performance. You know, it's not like Breezy or Cirque just like killing everyone. No, it's like a team effort. They've had to grind. Every game was a grind for them, wins and losses. So it's always great to see in a team that sort of resilience, right? And being able to grind out games. Everyone can win, having good momentum and being on a roll, snowballing a game, right? Winning both pistols, blah, 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 blah. They had to come back against OG. That first map, what was it? 14...
They were getting rolled.
7-8,
Yeah,
7-8, right? And they came back and won 16-14. Like, for us, we always talk about, or we put a lot of emphasis on the energy of the players, how they look on the player cams and all of that. And for EG, that was horrible, like coming up to this tournament. And that's why that's why I said it's going to be a quick 2-0, right? They're going to get knocked out. That's going to be it. But now you can tell them they're a different sort of a team.
Anyway, the thing is, like, I'm gonna give them the heroic win. I'll give them that.
Okay.
Great CT
You're not going to
side.
give them anything. They took that win.
I'm
Don't
gonna,
shush me.
I'm gonna
I'm
give
going to
them.
throw you into this pool. Don't shush me.
Spirit looked terrible.
Yeah, bring it on.
Spirit looked terrible.
Yeah, Spirit.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a game.
Yeah.
Whatever. The thing is, like, the third game against OG, 14-7, 14-8. That was straight up bullshit from OG.
Okay.
And then
Yeah,
second
no,
map,
it was. It was bad CS. They were scared. They were
second
playing
map,
scared.
third map blowout, 16-5, 16-6.
Yeah.
So what was good there?
Yep. No.
If they beat Gambit, then I'm gonna eat my words. I'm gonna drink my beer. Where is it?
I'm going to eat this dirt off the floor.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
your
I am.
words.
I am. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
Fair
Look,
enough.
that's where I think it ends for them as well. But they've achieved more than we all expected.
I spoke
True.
to Stan as well. He
Wait, you DM'd him?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, because he posted a bracket on his Instagram of a skeleton's hand waving with his like "See you on Friday" or whatever.
Okay.
Mm.
And I was like, "Are you waving hello or are you waving goodbye?" And he said, "You'll have to wait and see," with a smirky face. So it wasn't as much info as I was hoping to get, but basically I figured the dead hand was kind of communication.
I want to know the smirky face. Was
Yeah.
it the one with like the
It's the
sideways?
It's the like Netflix and chill.
Oh, he's one of those
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
That's in his recently used.
All right.
Wow.
Okay. Well, that says a lot. But
Says a lot.
Here's the biggest question that I have, right? So we did a content piece earlier in the year. I scripted it, right? It was about Zeus. It wasn't actually about necessarily just EG, right?
Here we go.
But
Oh,
it was-
finally we're getting into the drama. This is Drama Alert 2.0.
So, okay. So
Sad rant.
the piece was about Zeus and his career as a coach, right? And EG at the time, back then, was struggling, right? They were struggling. And in the past, there's no secret that Stan and Zeus had issues, right? But they're obviously working again together. Now, this piece, obviously, it's entertainment, so we're going to add a little bit of extra sauce on it, everybody. That's how this
Extra
bloody-
salt, one may say.
That's how this works, right?
No,
you always
nobody
add a
would
little
say.
bit of extra spin. So I guess I think the question that was left there was, if the going gets tough, is the team going to have issues? Like, is the coach going to part ways? How are they going to fix this problem? The going did get tough. Ethan went to Valorant. Tarek's now streaming, right? They brought in Mihu from Europe. They brought in Obo, which they were lucky to get for free, right, from Complexity.
That is
Then,
the best trade, free
Yeah,
trade
yeah,
deal in history,
exactly.
isn't it?
but Zeus is now gone. Okay, so the problems that were outlined there, right? Now it doesn't necessarily have to be they hate each other. That's not what I'm saying. But in terms of the way they view the game, quite clearly different.
It's different, 100%.
So then, like, Stan obviously got his nose put out of joint about that, right? He made some tweets. He said it was conjecture. It is conjecture because how are we meant to know what's going on in the team? And unless you tell us, that's all the info we have.
Which you're never gonna do
Because you put a
publicly.
camera in front of them and they
Yeah,
go,
he
"We should
shouldn't.
play our game."
Yeah.
Just wanna, you know, we've been working hard and we're gonna play our game.
But I mean, as someone who was on both sides of that, like it's just how you have to do. Like
Sure.
you're never gonna, put your dirt out
Never,
in the public.
never,
That's just
never.
not what you do, right? And the most you're gonna get is what we did get from Stan in that interview, right? Some small bits where he wants to say it, but he also knows he can't really
Sure.
say anything. It's unprofessional, and that's just how it is. And anyone who expects something different, you don't know what you're doing. But it's like saying, "Oh, we were too down on ourselves, like trying to make everything perfect." Like those two sentences, trying to make every part of a game perfect and focusing too much on our mistakes, like that just tells you, the disagree or like the differences
view.
in views and in approach, right? And also, to be fair, every player is always gonna say about his coach, like, we're focusing too much on the mistakes, which is what the coach's job
Fault,
is.
yeah.
Well, not really.
Well, to an extent, in a sense of you need to fix the mistakes, but your first and foremost thing you need to do is create a healthy atmosphere in the team,
Kassad.
right?
Sorry, just because I saw friction and I don't get to desk coast off and I got excited. I got really excited.
Unfortunate.
So if that's not the primary purpose of a coach, what would you put in their place?
I think Yanko stated it correctly, to create a healthy atmosphere in the team. But it's also the problem is when your coach and your IGL, they don't see the thing the same way, right?
Yeah.
And the
Is that
other
innately a
players,
problem?
let's say I'm the coach, you're the IGL, right? They're the players, right? And I want to go
I'm the
right,
upper.
and you're gonna go
Okay.
left.
I'm
You want to
looking.
play execution, I want to play default.
Yeah.
And they see that you and me are not getting along, and they see that I'm not happy when something is being done or not done, and the other way around, it's gonna affect them,
Yeah.
right? And they're gonna start talking to each other. They're gonna start second guessing whatever they do, right? And that's a massive problem. If you cannot find a compromise to actually do this shit, you just need to go different ways.
Which is
Okay.
why seeing that conviction in teams is so impressive when it looks like everyone's, we praise Heroic for it, where it looks like everyone's hanging on to the mid-round call of Cadian.
Yeah.
But from a coaching and in-game leader standpoint, where everyone just has faith in the call and respects it.
Well, I mean,
What did you mention, Cadian and?
Hunden.
I didn't say his name. I just said the
Is that a subject of this podcast too?
Well, we can talk about whatever we want.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
We can talk about literally
The water's
whatever we
inside.
want. And Heroic were in the event, so we can talk about
in my mind,
that.
he's like Voldemort of the broadcast now. where,
Okay.
Like sometimes we see him on screen in the background, or
And
like
there's the
his
coach.
name is written down somewhere in a book, and we all just kind of go, "He who should not be named," and we all just
Dude,
run away.
this is where me and Kassad, we argue about this a lot, because for me, that's fine. Like, the governing body sentenced him to whatever they thought was the righteous sentence. The guy kept his fucking mouth shut. Sure, you're supposed to, he was quiet, he was serving his time.
Yeah,
Sure, Heroic got him doing some bullshit role, he was an analyst. He probably did
the same thing.
the same thing, right? Which for me, that's what I don't like.
Okay.
But they left them leeway to do that. But he served his time and now he's back and he deserves a second chance. If he does anything,
Can't step a foot out of line.
for me, he
stupid,
should be
dude.
banned for life.
It's-
While some,
It's obviously very, very personal for you in that sense, right? But I think the thing is that do we honestly think that removing all of like Zona, right? Fuck that guy. Honestly, get rid of that guy. And there's a couple of others who Yanko. I know
Don't
that
you just love that what was this other team hired him to be the coach of the academy team?
Yes.
Like to run, like he's gonna
To
teach
influence
the
children.
young, the kids. He's gonna teach them like. Well, the guy has no ethics, no moral. That's crazy. That was crazy to me.
But okay, so some of them, right, definitely should be hit with a harder book, and they were, right? Some of them are banned for longer, right? But aren't all of them banned from coaching at majors?
Yeah, but the coaches, the regular coaches are.
But
too.
not from the LAN event.
Ah,
just
yeah,
from the
that's long.
RMR.
That ban is longer. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Gary, like from Fury, is banned for 4 years. or
yeah, so the major ban, they're going to be effective for a longer period of time, right? So I get.
He didn't play a major for 2 years. Dude.
I know that's circumstances we can't really avoid here, but my point is, or what I'm trying to get to is what they did was wrong, right? Nobody will question what they did was wrong, and if they did, those people are also morally questionable or ethically questionable, right? But do we think that removing all of those people for making those choices, right? And I know what your answer is going to be, but maybe over this side we can meet in the middle somewhere.
I've got something for you.
Do we think that they should be banned forever? Because right, we also have the conversation to do with these kids who cheated, right? And then they said, "Oh, my brother did it," right? You know the ones we're talking about.
Yeah.
They were kids, okay? And Hunden's not a kid. He just turned 30. He's a bloody adult. He should never have done this, but it's happened. And I feel like you do your sentence, you do your time. He's condemned. We're not talking about him because of that. It feels like. You know, maybe it could have been longer, but he served what was considered fair.
Did he feel that punishment?
Probably not, but now
Not,
we think of him
right?
as a bit of a fucking dick.
So yeah,
The thing is, like,
think,
he didn't feel a punishment at all. The other guys didn't too. You know, some of them, most of them.
I think he's going to be feeling a punishment every single day for the rest of his career.
Well,
Because he knows every single person he meets. Kassad, imagine you walk to your first LAN and every single
Signing
person that
session.
you meet, every human
Knows
being,
you're
every
a scum.
fan,
Yeah.
everyone has a predecided opinion of you that you won't address, they won't address, but it'll be an
It exists.
unspoken marinade in how they treat you. That's gonna fucking punish him every single day. And I want to make a bigger picture before I give up this mic. Is that we're talking about what we're literally talking about is the justice system. Like,
Sure.
we're literally going. This is macro. This is human now. And what you're asking for is the death penalty.
We lynch him.
You're
Get him!
You're saying
Get him
he
on the
did
streets.
something-
I
he
will
did
give him 5
something
years.
bad. He did
5
something
years?
bad.
Give him 5
He
years.
should have something bad done to him. And an eye for an eye leaves the whole world
No,
blind.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we should just, just that sentence.
Yes, you are.
Just give him 5 years.
The equivalent, I was saying. But yeah, okay, so you think just purely by like sabotaging his career until CS is
Yo,
dead
because
and then
like
letting him come
the
back.
thing is,
No,
like,
don't say
it
that. I need 10 years.
It affected honest people. It
Just
affected
10 more
honest
years,
people. You know, people
Sure.
that work hard. It affected them. You know how much major B means to them.
Yeah.
They can still coach them, but they're losing the opportunity of online helping their teams. You know the things in RMR last month.
Yeah, it's
In
messy.
LA,
It's
in
messy.
I have been stressing the most in my life in the past 15-20 days.
And this guy stresses a lot. I'll tell you that. Like he stresses
it's
a
actually
lot.
crazy. I had to be out of the building.
Yeah.
The rules are you cannot
Out
even
of
be.
the building.
Listen. The rules stated that we cannot be even in a proximity where we can hear players talking or whatever. Like
He can't
like-
be in the room next door, for example.
Sure.
Yeah, I can. There was a room like a glass door, so I could I could maybe peek, but the rules say no, so I
Yeah.
had to be outside of the building.
Okay.
Walking around without Wi-Fi. Just walking around. One time, security came up to me, like, "Hey, dude, what did you do? What is it?" I was like, I'm just stressing. Show me your ID. Like, show me your ID. I was just, dude, I'm with my
He's
team.
still staking out the place. You know?
It's like
The
crazy,
Serbian in
crazy.
America circling a building.
But I
Right?
tell you, it's no joke because it sucks. I did expect something like that. I even expected worse from Valve because for Valve, the way they think is we don't want anything to deal with this bullshit. So we'll just make a broad sort of a decision where we don't have to worry about this ever
Coaches
again.
banned.
Coaches, all
was the
coaches
post I
banned,
thought was
right?
coming.
Like
Jason
I
was
had,
scared about that.
I had a good amount of reasons why I quit FaZe, right? But one of those was there was a possibility in my head that coaching is not going to be a thing like 6 months from now.
Sure.
Because if this keeps unraveling the coaching scandal, it might come to a point where Valve is like, well, screw this, we don't need this
They've
associated
already-
attached to our game.
They're already anti-coach, aren't they?
Yeah,
They
they
were
were.
since the beginning.
They've been quite vocal about that in terms of
Yeah,
wanting it
so-
to not deviate from matchmaking.
So like that's the problem because of a couple of rotten apples. The
Sure.
majority of people get screwed.
Look, this punishment sucks for now, and the thing is, like, this has all been amplified by the global situation that we're in, right? Once we return to LANs, and then the coaches can be back behind players, and the RMRs are on LAN, or whatever qualification is for majors, right? There's obviously still going to be online events where maybe this is affected. But I think that the thing is, the stance that Valve had before with banning backban players like the kids, we didn't like that, right? We didn't like that because it was too harsh, ruining the career of kids, right? Like who could be very, very good players. And we're all adults here, right? We've all done stupid shit, right? We've all done really bad stuff. We've all made made mistakes.
Well.
And I think that's the thing. Like, as we mature and get older, we would hope that people would have, you know, that foresight to give us another opportunity. I think the same thing here. Yanko's bang on. If any of these coaches, we could go through the laundry list, step another toe out of line, that's them done, right? They're going to be condemned to the lynching.
Apart from Zona and his 500 games of you abusing.
Fuck that guy.
Well, I'm
I-
also
so-
going to
so the-
say,
so the-
which camera is it? Is this camera?
The line
I'm gonna
changes,
look
right?
down the
Because
camera.
The line
Wait,
changes
hold
when
on.
you've murdered 300
No.
people and when you've murdered one.
No.
This
The
you'll
way
treat
I
it
see it,
differently.
the way I see
Wait,
it,
wait.
like you killed one guy, like 80-year-old guy, right? You got the three years prison. If you kill another guy, you know that's it for you.
Because he's old, it's fine. No, I want to
Alright,
look
alright,
down the
alright,
camera. I want to look at the camera. This is for my own personal collection. This won't be on there. I want to say,
Size out of the
fuck.
All right, that one won't make the cut.
That's not quite
That
making
won't
it.
make the cut.
That's what I said.
Hi,
That's
Frank.
for-
All right,
that's for me.
We can
Shout
send
out
that
to
to
Frank.
Yanko. Get
Send that to Yanko privately.
No, what gets me the most is the fact that I keep like replaying that is in my head. Like somebody's sitting there using the bug and like communicating, guys, to cat, to fucking lower or something.
yeah.
And then other side
Okay,
who's playing
wait.
normally.
What about the players? What
Wait,
about the
yo,
fucking players?
alright,
I can't argue that because this.
Yeah,
this-
we're
I
going
know
to
this guy
I'm gonna
farther.
have to. I'm gonna
We're going
have
too
to.
far down
I'm
the
gonna have to
rabbit
take
hole
us
for
back on
this.
course. So I'll give you the. You're very passionate about this, Kassad. I want you to have the final words, but I want us to transition elsewhere.
Okay. They should all be banned.
Thank you for
Off,
tuning in.
off with that.
And good night.
And that's Henry VIII. He'll be here all week.
Okay.
They should definitely get better, like
Alright, so here's the.
worse penalty than whatever, like
We don't-
3-4 months.
Okay. Well, can we?
Wait, before
yeah?
you move on,
Yeah.
this is all the beers we have, right?
Yeah, I think
There's more beers in the fucking production catering room.
in that other room. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Maybe if you need more,
Yes.
we can maybe get more.
yes.
Okay, can we get some more beers? I want to stay with Heroic, right?
All right.
And I know, but the thing is, they didn't make it out of the group stage, right?
Right.
So Heroic right now are considered one of the best teams in the world. I don't think anybody
Second
here.
best, I think it's fair.
Do we put this down to the fact that these guys have been attending everything that opens and shuts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Just an off tournament. I don't think it's
easy as that?
Heroic made the two best possible lineup changes they could ever make.
Wow.
They brought two perfect players for them. They are playing sick Counter-Strike. This event, like Pineapple Man said, it's just a one-off.
Okay.
And I think Cadian said it before as well. Like we need to count on this one that we're gonna be playing one like like this, but we're gonna be ready for the big ones. You
Okay.
know? And I think once this shit comes back to LAN, I think they're gonna be one of the
Top
good
dogs.
teams. Yeah.
So that's really interesting because I have not a fear, but I have a concern about how much of Heroic is maintained. The form that we've seen, the very best of Heroic, whether they can do that when the environment changes.
I think they do. Right now they're playing a lot from their like
Yeah, they're in land. That's true.
and they have like all these cameras around them, and it's like environment like we have in the studios
Yes.
when we play events.
Yes.
I think they're playing well. That when you go download their demos, I watch a lot, obviously because it's my primary job, right? And they're doing a lot of cool shit on every map, and I see that they're working. They're not stopping. And I can honestly say that they're like my kind of favorite team when it transitions back to LAN.
Well,
Okay.
you and me, Chad, we talked about this on the
In the
drive
car, yeah.
over. Yeah, it's like for all of these teams, like Heroic, bootcamping a lot, Gambit as well, every team, when we go back to LAN, Cologne, for example, it's not going to be, an arena, stadium, anything like
soft
that.
entry.
It's the soft, right? It's first going to be, well,
Studio.
like your bootcamping, just with a bit more lights and, sure, it's going to be a little bit different, but not that much. So for these teams like Gambit, like Heroic, who don't have maybe some of these veteran names, or as that 5-man unit didn't play at a big LAN together, it's perfect, right? They're easing their way back into it. Even when we do get crowds, we're not gonna go straight into a 10,000 people arena. It's gonna be like social distancing. It's gonna be 2, 3, 4,000, right? And that way, it actually is perfect for them. And I think we're not going to see if any, a big drop off from these
Who's
teams
on
going
the
back.
heroic list? Who's in like Gambit is immediately put in that list as well. Like if heroic can do it, I would hope Gambit can too.
I think they're the main. Like, I'm trying to think who else comes after that, and it's hard
Dude,
because
remember Gambit youngsters? They were doing like the Copenhagen Game Lands and stuff, right? Like long time ago, trying to cut their teeth.
A year ago,
I
you
think that the Hobbit is the one that brought them, like, you know, kind of they became stable.
What was that, Kassad? I couldn't quite hear you there, mate.
I think it's Hobbit
into
who
the mic.
stabilized them
Ah,
and
thank
turned them
you.
into a team.
It's not by your mouth this time. It's this big dangly dong.
We got to yell into the mic. Okay, so heroic, we think it's a splash in the pan type.
100%.
Type, not a splash.
No, quite the opposite.
There'd be a flash in the pan. It'd
Flash
be,
in the pan if they didn't exist afterwards.
Yeah, so it's
opposite.
just a one-off.
Well,
it's the first pancake.
Another team that you would say,
Anyone get that
I
reference?
did, yeah.
Okay.
It's always terrible.
First pancake.
another team that you would put in that group, but probably a lot more so a year ago, would be Big, right? Like they were doing really well for a long time, and it was completely different than when we did have LAN. So now they're a bit, I don't know how to say, in flux.
Yeah.
Either here or there.
Yeah.
I think they're finishing work for the day.
No, he's just warming up my Harley.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he knows that.
You going home
Makes
with the
sense.
pink shorts and the
And the
flamingos
flamingo under my arm?
with the glasses.
Yeah, that's
OG.
the full outfit.
OG will be another team to watch online because they have great like energy and great synergy at the boot camp, but they have inexperienced LAN players in Mantu and Flames, who are two of the top 5 players in this tournament and two of their best players so far for the event.
While he's pointing credit at Shush and Refresh, I should also just join you and say that those two are probably such perfect pieces in comparison to Issa and MBK in making them a true top 5 contender.
Yeah, they're really
Like
good
Flames,
upgrades.
dude. Like,
Really good upgrades.
Such great upgrades. And Mantu, I know he wasn't the upgrade, but he just looks like he's getting better every time I watch him.
The fact he came from respectively, I'm not trying to throw shade here, but basically nowhere. No one had heard of Mantu before OG, right?
Was it Epsilon?
No,
or German team?
it was
Alternate Attack?
alternate attacks.
Which
I think it
is,
was.
he was playing with Dude, who is the coach of Big now, who
Yes.
has the dreamy
Yeah,
eyes
yeah,
for
yeah,
those
yeah.
people playing at home. He does have wonderful looking eyes. I can't
Dreamy
deny it.
eyes, yeah.
I can't deny it. Okay, so those.
Portal to the soul.
Who else dropped out here early that we were? Oh, NIP. Do we put any like NIP? Obviously, they just added a new player of Linus.
Device had a terrible event though.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do?
I mean, we call him Mr. Consistent. He consistently sucked this event.
Okay, but add this context. Why would you sign Device?
Can you just get along with me one time?
Why would you
Can
sign Device?
Can you just trash on someone with
didn't-
me one time, Chad?
He didn't play.
I go
Mirage.
out of my comfort zone here, and you
spill
shut
all
it-
the water.
and you shut me
Well,
down.
He didn't play Mirage for
I know.
2.5 years.
Yeah,
And
he
now-
just ticket every round, like Campus said.
but
Just go ticket
How
every
much
round.
impact can he have? Why like your star player? You bring him in, you play Mirage. Okay, Device. We know that you're great at Nuke. We know
Nuke
that
was
you're
great.
great at all these other maps. Let's put you in the map that you're not comfortable and have good stats. Like that for me is the biggest mistake right there. Like I think any team who's first picking Mirage as a map, and you can probably talk to this. You were in phase.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on there?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you play towards your player's strengths as well, right? Like, we had a lot of good aimers in the team, so you can always create a post-plan situation where the individuals can
My analysis was right then.
make something happen. But the thing is, like, it's not like, okay, Astralis didn't play Mirage, but Device played it. I mean, in FPLs, in
Sure.
like, everyone knows Mirage. So, sure, always in a competitive game, it's a little bit different, but it's not like if he didn't play Vertigo or something like that, a much more, or either a newer map or a more complex map, right? So I think that's why NIP made that decision, because it's not as big of a leap as some of the other maps.
Okay.
I think that maybe there will be another addition to NIP in the future.
Okay.
How about this?
I think that is a valid possibility.
Yeah, that's
there.
a good point, because I want to ask you this, Chad. You like drama, right?
I love
You're
drama.
a drama type of a person, right? So I had the fucking CGO, COO, some guy from NIP come after me because I said on the desk,
I saw that.
this is weird. Like, you just hit second place with ZTR, and then you're like, well, we think he needs development. You bring another guy. Why don't, you don't make that change unless there's something right. If he is just individually, like, you already got number 2, so maybe just give the guy like an event or more. That was his first event with Device.
Sure.
So what they're doing is, like, I'm not gonna continue speculating that there was something terribly wrong with ZTR, right? That wasn't my point. My point is just, like, how long do you keep switching that fifth guy in and out before you just decide on one and try to get consistent.
I get what you're saying, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, sir. I just think that if you were looking for an opportunity, because I know the calendar, if you were looking for an opportunity where you knew that ZTR in your mind was not the perfect fit, and you want to make your first like Cologne and your first major as an NIP, the new brand NIP, you want to make it as impactful as possible. An IEM Summer changing in one ninja or young ninja for another seems like a perfect opportunity.
I agree with that. My thought process was they're doing this because also you have to remember if they stick with Linus for the next RMR, they lose points.
Bingo.
Right. So my thought process was they want to give this other guy a chance because they see a lot of potential in him as well. He did decent. And also they want to keep like maybe ZTR on his toes, and even the rest of the players, right?
But ZTR wasn't flashed with stats.
And then I'm thinking, okay, for this event they try Linus. For Cologne we don't know yet, might go either way. But I feel like for the next RMR they stick with ZTR simply because of the points.
The thing is, like, I feel like that NIP is in a position because they signed Device to maybe get a Harley Davidson here and
They're beautiful, aren't they?
buy it for us.
Raise your voice a little bit, you bitch.
Shut up. Anyway,
As I was saying,
no, the thing is, like, they got Device now. They can attract any player they like. Just go around teams and see how many players won't go and play with Device.
Okay.
Yeah,
They have the option.
So they need to speak
Endless.
Swedish.
yeah.
So you're alluding to something here,
Yeah.
Kassad. Who would be at the top of your list who NIP might be looking to
It's
poach?
Draken, obviously.
Yeah, getting back from Valorant.
He's gonna get.
Reunite Rez and Draken. We go to the Oakland storylines we keep
Exactly,
rehashing.
yeah.
And back in Oakland, Rez was great
It's-
on one
alright.
map.
It's about getting the proper role. You know, I don't know which roles are they looking for. You know that what's happening in Fnatic now, right?
It's a mess.
You know there is Brolan, there is
I was
Cream,
gonna say
there's,
that.
you know.
I was gonna say.
What
True.
about you
Imagine
just cash
Brolan's
out
to
something
NIP.
a little bit and
Imagine.
you buy Brolan and get him next to Device?
So you think Brolin in place of somebody like Linus would make sense? Would make a lot of. But he just signed like a 3-year contract.
Just
didn't he?
buy him out.
Yeah, but you know
a 3-year
the
contract?
NIP
Woo!
versus Fnatic. There's a lot there. Sam Matthews. You know, I don't think that'll be as easy as we think. Plus,
Well,
there's a
okay.
reason they have the young ninjas.
Yeah,
Jokes aside,
just
though,
get
what about
Crims.
that hyena,
Well,
that
then the-
ex-Fnatic Swede? He's called Flusher. He's still quite good at the video game.
Gorillas, it's not hyenas, gorillas.
Gorillas.
They
hyenas
love
is foreign.
animals.
Hyenas
Yeah.
is the Danish
But
Caribbean.
The thing with Flusher is he wanted to in-game lead. That's what happened in Fnatic, right? At least as far as I can understand. It was either him or Golden.
Flusher wanted to.
Yeah, and what they did was they stuck with Golden, which hasn't worked so well just yet. It might change, right? But like that's why Flusher was the one that got the boot. Whereas if it wasn't like, because they already got rid of Golden once before and it went to shit. So it's like, okay, do we do it again and risk it? Like from the desk perspective, we were like, why did they get rid of Golden? Because at that time it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But Flusher, what we could be doing now is getting found out about Golden. We could be learning a lot about Golden and how much Flusher potentially supported him, right? Because we already knew he was doing a lot of, let's say, in-game leader duties in the server, but he wasn't necessarily calling.
No, but I mean, he was. I think someone painted a picture for me of Flusher really recently, which was like he had an understanding of the game far ahead of anyone else when he was the best, right? That was one of the things that made him so good. And if that understanding of the game has maintained, if his just through his lens, he still sees how modern day Counter-Strike should be played. He doesn't even have to be in a leadership role to be providing insight and help. I think
The real question is who is making the decisions there.
At Fnatic?
Yeah,
Wait, ad break.
like their coach
Samuelson,
is,
no?
Yeah, is basically their previous manager, right?
Yeah, so I think he does
They
a
got
lot
him
of that.
instead of Jumpy, or
Yeah, Jumpy went to North and that didn't work out very well.
yeah, but they got him like as a coach, right? But I don't think he's like in game.
There's a pod logo there on the keys. There you go. There we go. It's coming over.
So I don't know who is making the decisions there.
I think
Is
it
it
must
Arnold?
be Samuelson. They must have given him a lot of. I don't want another beer. I'm good, boys.
Like, is he
So
like
great.
really the
Yeah,
guy
that's
who
it.
can understand the roles needed and the whole structure of the composition of the team? Like, is he
It's
the
a
guy?
good question.
Or
Yeah.
is it Golden? Or is it Crims? Or is it Brolan? Or is it somebody from the management?
All right. Well, hold up a second.
That's why we need a general manager in every organization.
Yes,
But
thank you.
that
That's
should
a
be
good idea.
Infinite money.
Shouldn't that be calm? Or is he like
He's
now?
the CGO. He's like across all.
Okay, so
esports
he
teams.
knows video games.
He's
so
like a step above. I mean,
That's why we need Jerry Krause.
Jerry Krause. What sport is that?
NBA, the Chicago
That's
Bulls
why we
general
need
I don't
manager.
know.
Larry
I don't
Bird,
know all
Jerry
Last
the
Dance.
Krause.
You didn't watch the Last Dance?
I did. I didn't. I like. Oh yeah,
He's
you're
the
right.
GM guy.
You're right. Now I look like a clown. Okay. What about this? Because we're talking about like management level right stuff. How about this is just a quick solution for Fnatic? All right. Goodbye, JW. Sorry, Yappa.
Goodbye.
He has to go.
She has to.
Goodbye, Golden. He has to go. Add Flusher.
Yes.
Flusher comes in. He comes in. He's in-game leading. He's back in charge.
And Fnatic win the major.
And some Swedish kid.
Yeah, but there's
Spencer, who was it?
don't worry about him. There's going to be another Swede out there. There was one who I had on my list. There was a good
now on,
Swede.
you're on my list.
There was a good Swede. I was talking about it today.
NIP.
Nork. Bring Nork in, right? Get him in the team. We've seen Nork at a decent level in
Secondary opera.
He only got replaced by Device,
Yeah.
right?
He
So-
should be picked up.
yeah.
He should be
So
picked up.
imagine Nork and Flusher to Fnatic with Crims Brolin, and then if you want to keep Jacquinho, that's fine.
If you can keep him, I think he's good.
But Jacquinho is the opper too.
Yeah, but okay. So
But
if you-
Nock initially, he wasn't like a primary opera. I think he's more comfortable being a
I'll
secondary
tell you something. We
opera.
practiced Fnatic quite a few times. Jacquinho is a good opper.
Okay, so let's say we keep Jacquinho as the primary AWPer. Okay, maybe not Nork. Then what about? No, I want
bring him.
Nork.
I
Yeah,
think
Nork
he
can
can,
do
he
it.
can work as a rifle, yeah.
But what about that as a team? Because that right there, Flusher
it's
comes
way
in.
better.
I think that's an upgrade for both JW and Golden. As much as it pains me to say,
Flusher and Golden worked well together in
What-
the past, so they had a chance to play
only when they
together.
came back and won that event,
That was
that DreamHack
Stockholm.
event,
So
right?
obviously, yeah, some sort of.
I mean,
Yeah.
Fnatic was #1 for a little while, early 2020.
They won early last year when we were doing Pro League. They
Before-
won season 11.
Yes.
Remember, you lifted the trophy.
I did.
Yeah.
I've lifted Fnatic's trophy.
Yeah.
Last year's Katowice, they played semis.
Okay. So they were good not that long ago, right? Like I know
what?
it's a year ago, and
Yeah, I lost to G2.
Last year's Katowice.
Yeah, last year,
No.
2020 on LAN.
No,
They
that's,
beat us.
That's 2 years. Oh no,
no, it was last
They
year.
beat
oh,
us.
that's last.
The
year.
last that was the last line that
Bloody
we had.
hell, yeah.
I know, right?
Well, I'm thinking this year Katowice. Wow.
Should we all cry?
Imagine when
I
Land
did this
comes
in the
back.
morning.
Dude, I was watching some clip. What was it?
He
It
joined
was-
TeamSpeak and
Just cry.
tears just started. The floodgates open.
It was like a proper irrelevant, like just a standard land clip of someone going. I think, oh god, I can't even tell.
For who?
I was watching like best Counter-Strike moments. It was like Simple throwing his AWP over the wall,
Yep.
you know, those kind of moments, and just hearing the
crowd, yeah.
for like standard shit that in online me and Chad go, oh, he's thrown his AWP. Would you look at that?
Yeah.
You know, and you hearing 10,000 people just fucking watching it with you and experiencing it with you, it's like, wow, Counter-Strike was really badass.
Yeah.
I kind of like it's.
I wish
taken
it
me-
was like this again.
It's taken me a year to fully kind of
I
forget.
Yeah, I really kind of want to touch base on Vitality, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's like considering them anywhere right now.
I got freaked out when Apex said, "Oh, I just hate how quiet my whole team is. Like everyone's so quiet. It's just me talking." all the
Apex is
time."
very honest, isn't
because I mean I think that's true. There's a lot of truth being spoken there, and I imagine just as someone that's aware of how team dynamics can operate, that's not functional, or it's not doesn't serve its purpose to the best of its ability. When it's just, you know, we're not having a conversation. He's you know, Kyojin's not going to correct him. Masuta's not going to correct him. Navira definitely wasn't going to correct him when he was back then. So he's kind of, it's just him and Shox, the old boys club, plus the new boys.
Yeah, and the
Zai was
coach.
going to sit there with his lips zipped.
Yeah.
But you know, like we talked about this at the start of the year at some events. I always praise Vitality as an organization
Yeah.
for their decision making. Like they
Yeah.
were one of the first teams to introduce the 6th player and actually rotate him for maps. They were the first team to win a big event with 6 different players playing in the grand final. That was Beijing, right? If
Navera,
if
yeah.
I'm not wrong.
And they look really
right?
good on Inferno.
And then they made a decision that I completely disliked because of the majors and because of RMR. They stepped away from the 6-man roster. The player they decided to remove was Nivera, stick with RPK, who they then replaced a couple of months after, right? And that was, I don't know if I was even on the podcast with you, Chad, when we were talking about it. It's like, do you sacrifice, because the team was functioning really, really well. So do you sacrifice that in order to try in your mind what's best for the major, or do you just stick with that team that's doing really good at all the events, and then just for the major you made a tough decision of which 5 you're gonna pick,
Sure. Yeah.
right? Or even potentially they would have had, well, I'm not exactly sure how it works at the actual tournament. Like obviously they could have a player instead of the coach, but I don't know how it works.
You can list a sub.
But you can only field them in case of like an injury,
Yes.
emergency. Okay, then forget that. But
Well, it
that's
wouldn't
the
be the
thing,
first
and you
time a
can
team's
see
faked an
that
emergency.
that decision to step away from the 6-man roster destroyed Vitality as a team. Like they went from being the second best team in the world to being like whatever. Maybe they make the playoffs, maybe not, right? And this is the first event in the last 3 events that we actually see them like doing well and making the playoffs. And the reason for that is first Zaibu being Zaibu.
Yes.
And the second thing is Misuta emerging as a second star, being the
Yes.
top-rated player, top 10 rated player of the event, which he hasn't achieved, wasn't even close ever.
Well, that's what they expected from him when they got him, so it was about time.
Wait, where did that
So wait,
expectation come from?
this is the question. Is like, do you think this is going to be a sign of things to come for Misuta, or will it just be an outlier event?
But there's another question to add on top of that, because if they scouted Masuda and eventually he's turned it, let's say he's consistent, like let's say he becomes consistent,
That's
is the same thing painted for Kyojin, which then makes them, if that happens 6 months from now, or let's say that, not even 6 months from now, let's say by the time we get to the major in November, that they're at 80% of what's possible, right? Kyojin fits in more, Masuda's looking consistent, Zywoo's still Zywoo, Shox is doing his flanky stuff, and Apex is smashing tables, right? Let's say that's happening, right? Is that enough for them to go back to the top 2 team in the world? Because, yeah, you're right, is Masuda going to be consistent is one question, but Kyojin, if he's a liability, that's a completely other one.
I think liabilities is an impossible.
It's a strong word.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't think Kyojin has it within his capabilities to be a liability.
And I just feel
How
like
quick of a learner.
it depends how much they develop, not as the individuals, as a team. Because this individualistic meta shit, that's not gonna last and too much.
You
know?
think they play
Especially
individual
online,
style?
We're gonna when we go back to studios, LANs, and everything, things will change.
Okay.
Like teams, like for example IGLs, they will never make the same calls like they did online.
Especially as
very
reactive, right?
few of them. Individuals won't be taking so much space, won't take so much risks, won't swing. Like let's say you play Mirage, somebody's gonna today from CIS region, somebody's gonna swing 10 times in a row on top middle, right?
Yeah.
Or from ramp or something, right? When somebody like Magisk from Astralis hits you twice,
You're not going to do it again.
You're not
You're not
gonna
going to do
swing
it a
anymore.
third time, yeah?
you're not gonna push ramp when somebody like is watching it, you know, like you do right now. The things will change and they will like swap and like a shift more towards team-based Counter-Strike, like we had with Astralis 2019.
Okay.
But
You
to
know,
answer your...
18, 17. That's all in like team-wise. And then if Vitality or any other team for that matter, like kind of tries to figure out to develop as a team, they will do all right on next LAN events.
But to answer your question, Chad, I actually think Vitality has a decent roster lineup for the future, in a sense of you have the core of Apex, Zywoo, and Shox. Obviously, Apex and Shox being the more experienced players, the veterans, right? Apex being the in-game leader, Shox, this guy who was the star player for years, you know, the most flamboyant X-Factor player in the French scene, and we still flashes of that from him, we still see it. I think it's going to be more apparent on LAN, because he's not going to deviate too much from his game style on LAN. And you have Zywoo, who, yes, he's not a veteran, but he plays like one. I mean, the guy's been the best player in the world for 2 years in a row. His first year on the tier 1 scene, he's the tier 1, right?
And that was
and then
on
you
LAN.
have, that was on LAN. And then you have Misuta and Kyojin, 2 rookies. Yes, Misuta with already now some experience, but that's the perfect environment for them to perform, because nothing is really expected from them.
Sure.
Like the people you look at to carry that team in games is first Zywoo, obviously, and then Shox most of the time. Like, sure, if Misuta keeps up these types of performances, he's gonna get more spotlight on him. But for someone like Kyojin, you look at it and it's like, no one expects you to do anything, like just the bare minimum, basically, right?
We're happy.
But wasn't that the same world RPK lived in? Like, I don't think
Yeah.
RPK was just that guy that would get you 25 when he was playing long CT side on Dust 2.
yeah.
No, he would get 40 when he was playing our team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Regardless, you know, he's just like a reliable multi-kill master that doesn't have anything else. Attributed to him.
Yeah, sorry, we kind of derailed
Little bit of-
it.
little
But
bit
you
of
know,
answer there.
but the difference is the fact that RPK is like 45 and Kyojin is like 18.
Yeah.
So the
I think Kyojin's 22.
what?
Yeah.
Damn. So the point being, like, these younger kids, right? Obviously the mechanics and all this stuff, like, you know, you can see the potentially. You can see the potential perhaps, and like in the long run,
Sorry, it wasn't.
you can like see the
So you think it's a
payoff,
long-term
right?
project?
And then
Yeah, with Kyojin for sure, because I haven't seen a rookie more lost than Kyojin.
Since Masuda?
Since Masuda.
Even
Dude,
Well,
those
Masuda went
Masuda
0 and
games.
18 against Spirit on Dust 2 in one of the first games we
I
casted
think
of him.
CTR was a little bit more lost.
Yeah, but he had a 3K from Pit and everyone was like, CTR's going to save an OP, he's doing it, he's
well,
doing it!
same like Linus having those
Remember
2 rounds on
Zelsus?
Mirage on the CG side.
Remember Zelsis on C9? He had an ace
Oh,
on
yeah,
Mirage
that's
on
true.
Mirage. On
Yeah,
Major.
Okay, as long as they get one good round early,
The
whatever.
thing is, like, I come back to this general manager spot, like that type of structure.
Do you think Vitality have it?
I think Vitality is close to it, you know, and I like the moves they're making because he said, like, RPK was like, what, 37 years old, like me.
Yeah.
and like Shocks is not the.
He's not a spring chicken.
No.
Yeah.
If you make the right trades, I say trades because of the NBA reference and shit. So if you make the right trades, right calls at the right time, you build yourself a proper team that's gonna last for a season, 2 or 3. And then on the end of that 3rd season, you start thinking, okay, maybe I'm gonna remove this guy and then bring in another guy. But somebody with some years of experience
Needs to make that call.
like let's say you would be the great candidate for it. You would be the great candidate for it. Somebody who is like in CS for a long time, understands the roles of the teams, understands the age, understands how like everything works, and then you can make the call like how would I fit in my team? You know?
We've seen the flip side of that, right? We've seen old NIP, we've seen old Virtus Pro, we've seen what happens when lethargy, right? In terms of maybe not lethargy, but it getting forgetting that you need that newer, fresh face to come through to help invigorate the team, right? Because that's what they do. But let's look at this event, right? They're going up against VP in the quarterfinal. Does anybody here think Vitality will beat VP?
For me,
I think it's a possibility.
for me, it's not one.
50,
It's not.
50.
It's not super one-sided.
Okay.
I would say 60-40 VP.
60-40?
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the NIP game and I thought NIP had that at times.
True.
I mean, like it didn't look like Virtus Pro had that in the bag.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the NIP we've been relatively critical of. So
The 60-40 is just because of Inferno, I feel like. Because Vitality changed their whoever played Inferno and Shocks is like right
Yeah,
now. And
yeah.
I
gotta
think they
map
have a
them
little
to
bit of a
Geoffrey.
gap there.
Yeah.
And VP's strongest map, as we saw, it was like Inferno by far. They keep smashing people. So that's gonna be like you can write that off VP,
It
right?
needs to win. Okay.
what about just while we're on vetoes? Which of the best teams or which of the teams in the playoffs right now have we seen prove that they can play Ancient? I know Heroic have proven it. We haven't seen any
FPX,
Gambit. Have we
but
seen
they're
any
not in the
Gambit
playoffs.
Ancient? Not at all.
NIP
No,
played
they
it.
ban
No,
it?
we haven't. No, they
They
banned
closed
Nuke.
it.
We won't see
They
it
banned
in the
Nuke,
quarters.
but we haven't seen it.
We won't see it in the quarters.
No
FPX
quarters.
proved that they were the most ready
Yeah.
out of all, but they're not in the playoff.
Madden especially.
So
The
they
Ancient
they
one.
beat Astralis, they beat G2. So that's a statement, right? We know how to play. We researched it the most. But Ancient as a map, I guess we should talk about it, right?
Yeah, we need to talk about it.
I feel like I'm playing it with my team right now, these days, right? Every day. The meta that has been started like with right now is I feel like it's not the proper one.
You think it's still heavy B?
Tell
From
us
what we
about
saw-
it.
from what we saw?
Tell us what the meta is right
It's,
now.
the meta right now is towards B a lot. So basically, it's a banana Inferno,
Yep.
similar to
That's
B
what we
on
thought.
Ancient. It's completely like there's the only thing there is another way into the banana from the short side, I guess. I don't know how people call it. And a lot of nades are being used there, and retakes and takes. And right now, mid is completely open.
Yep. Do you
And
mean for the T's?
Yeah, and the A side on CT side is completely exposed, in my opinion. I think that's gonna be reworked probably
You
first.
need to move a box or a tunnel. One of
The-
the two needs to
The A
change.
player is fucked.
Yep.
Like,
Do you feel like A should be B and B should be A or no?
no.
Like you
I-
don't
I-
feel like that?
I
I saw
did-
someone tweet
Yeah, it's
that.
Maui Snake.
The banana is fine. Like, it reminds me of banana on Inferno, right? The fights are fine there, right? But it's still like, even if you take that banana, you still have to worry about, short side.
Yep.
Right now, on A side and CT side, I feel like it's way too exposed. The A player, if he doesn't have an AUG or an AWP, he's done.
Yep. Yep. No, I think that's fair. And I think like the exposed bomb sites thing, if people consider, right, if you get a site, like site control, let's say you come out A main, you get that control, you smoked off Temple, you smoked off Spawn, it doesn't matter that you smoked those off because if they throw one well-placed Molotov, it will cover the entire bomb spot. The one well-placed Molotov. And you get
but
spammed
it's
through
same on
smoke.
Vertigo.
Yeah, but that's and we see how that plays out we saw how that played out early with a lot of smoke spams, right?
Yeah.
But the way this has played out early is before the bomb goes down, there's a lot more crazy fights. People are getting caught in the side of the head while looking. Obviously, it's
I
going to
feel
change.
like that whole mid CT flank to both sides is just so perfect. Like the amount we were watching it and casting it, we saw like multiple 3v5s or basically like scenarios. Otherwise, we'd talk about saves already, right? And instead, on Ancient, because there's one T that's managed to slip red
Yep.
and is pushed up on CT,
Has the
so the
rotation.
round is live.
Yeah.
The round is live. They're fucking running to A, and if he gets 2 on the rotate, the game play on.
Yep.
You know, I think that's cool. You said mid was absent. I thought my understanding, and obviously it's a primitive understanding, is that it's gonna there is potential for CTs to battle for mid control, and that essentially translate into control
They
of
can
B
take
lane.
it easily at the
Like
beginning.
you boost the box, you swing lamps, B is yours. The CTs can take full
You
control
need
of
to
that.
take both
You
mid
keep
and
Elben
B.
smoked. It's like it's
But
horrible.
it's not easy.
If you
man.
want to hold it, you need to take both mid and B,
Yeah.
right? I think that's really integral, right? Because you would need to, first of all, lock down mid, which a lot of teams were doing,
They were.
but they were dying to that ledge position where they peek out, right?
Because of this smoke you've just put on Twitter,
Yeah.
Linus was throwing it.
It was a great
If
smoke.
you can smoke that lamp side, there is no way to contest for B lane control early other than from mid or from that long B ramp,
So-
which is not an easy fight and not one people go for commonly.
But you were saying that you think the meta right now, the one that we're describing here, is not the actual meta.
I
How do you
feel
think
like
it'll change?
I feel like the T's can be more aggressive on A main, on A
Yes.
side.
Yeah.
A lot
Pressure
more.
more, pressure
Because
more.
I tested the
So uncomfortable
timings. we tested the timings with the best spawn for A, with the best spawn from CT. You know, you can beat that molly.
Yep.
You know, even if you put it out, that's a lot of pressure. And CTs are sending always the one guy to do that, like to defend that stuff.
You're not
So
beating
you
an
just-
AWP though, are you?
yeah.
Like an AWP posted up, you're still
Just to get a
strafing
main
in.
control.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can
just
just
control the
just get any main control like so fast
Okay,
that it has to pull the rotations, right?
okay.
And then you can go for banana. You can allow CTs to do anything they want on banana. You know, counter smoke a little bit. Like sometimes on Inferno, people do the half wall smokes and
Yes.
a molly behind it to stop the CT aggression. That's why we don't see CTs taking banana anymore. You can stop the banana take on Ancient as well and focus on getting space
FPX
a
were
little
doing
bit more.
that. Yeah.
And focus a little bit more on A, right? Because the A side right now, as the map is so exposed. The A player on CT, once he uses his nades, he's done.
Yeah.
You can just walk in.
Yeah, yeah.
One flash, 2 second flash, or maybe a molly, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just a strafe out, right?
It's more mid to
You can
late
paint
range. Yeah,
his
yeah,
smoke, for fuck's sake.
yeah. Yeah,
You know, and they just need to add like a couple of boxes there, maybe one more like cubby or something. You know, it needs to be swapped a little bit on A side.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see, because you dedicate a lot of resources early to certain map control, right? And by doing that, then because we know how the CIS have been playing CS this year, they've done the percentage play by, they'll just wait till the last 30 seconds. And the CTs at that point, it's not even the last 30 seconds on Ancient, it's more like the last 50 seconds.
And everybody goes back to B.
Yeah, and I think that, because B, if you think about it, is also a very exposed site. If you smoke off, I don't know what you guys call it, we all have a bunch of different names, but that big, massive square, that block at the back of B site where the CTs can hold
Yeah,
from,
yeah.
right? There's a couple of positions on the right side. If you're a T coming in, those, we call it triangle, right? We have some really kooky names. But you can play behind there or down the long lane, right? So if you smoke off both those positions, you're susceptible to getting spammed through the smoke, and same thing again. One molly on the site is going to force them not to be able to plan. So I think that at the moment, with the way it plays is, the site, it's not, think about a Dust 2. Once you're in Dust 2, you have a bloody wall and a tiny window and some doors, right? You can fortify. A, once you get A control, you deal with long, you push him back, you now get Goose, you get sight boxes, you get Gandalf, you get Bridge, you get Short. That's where you hold from. In this, okay, you take B, right, you get site control. Unless you push for that square, right, which is actually going into where the CTs want you to come,
Yeah.
right, you are now playing in, we call it bedroom, right, which is that little room with that box, and other people call it cave with the spammable walls,
Cave, yeah.
right, or the long position. Unless you push up, you have only those two. Because you play in that cubby, you're very open to getting naded, spammed. You can't play, one guy can maybe play behind the pillar in the site, but what's he going to do, right? He can get picked from either side.
And once they open up the wall bangs, you get wall banged on pillar.
And those
block.
wall banks will be fixed,
Yeah.
right? That's the Chad Virtual guarantee that those bloody wall banks will be fixed, right? So then in that case, like if you're playing in sight, like Alex is alluding to, they can just flank in, spam you out, and you get screwed even more. So I think both bomb sites right now, I think A may be a little bit less because you can take control of platform or temple, right? But I get what you're saying in terms of the A guy doesn't have many places to defend from. It might even be, do you notice how like Nexa was playing full retake on Vertigo on B? He wasn't even playing the side at all. That's what might happen. They might just play super CT spawn or just from the A connector and almost give up the site for retake opportunities.
But the thing is, like, you don't execute on 5v5s anymore. Nobody does that. It's not 2014.
True.
You know,
I wish it was.
We try.
everybody-
Doesn't stop us trying, Chad.
Everybody is gonna go for some sort of map control.
Yeah.
The trade happens. 3v3, 2v3, 3v4, whatever. Mid-round call is just a basic CS,
Sure.
right? And then you
get more
maybe
room in the
execute
mid-round.
with
Yeah.
like 3 people against, well, 3 people retaking, right?
Yeah.
And then you have more room to play post plant,
Yeah.
down banana, back behind the thing that you call the, how did you say it? Like
Cave.
the cave, not the cave, like that big box, so that big like
Oh, square?
Block.
Yeah, call it blocks.
on
a
the
great
right
name.
side
Block
you call
works.
there is 2 like kind of cubbies.
Yeah.
2 corners. We
Yeah.
call one shadow and then we call the other one quad.
Okay.
You know.
Reusing names, I love it.
Yeah, it's like you know, so you can smoke deep B, right? And then just take that space, you know, and then you have the off angle. Maybe the flash can fly.
True.
Flash can fly over that block to pick the CT guys.
Yeah.
You know, there are options
There's
right
moves.
now because nobody will now execute on 5v5. That would be suicide.
Yeah.
Right? You get naded, you get mollied, you get spammed now in the future, whatever. There is no way nobody can done that. I saw VP doing a execute from
in that spirit game,
and
there's a lot of that.
Yeah, that
And
can only
Mir aced them or killed 4 people with the deagle.
Yeah.
yeah, that. But the thing is, like, that's like, you know, what do you call it? Like telephoning them, you know?
Sure, it's telegraphed.
Yeah, it's just like whatever. The smokes are flying right now. Of course, I'm gonna fucking drop a molly.
It's like a cash full execute on
Because
A.
who does that?
Yeah.
Nobody does that
Yeah.
anymore. People are smarter nowadays than 2015.
Players
They will-
individually have
they will
better
react,
reactions.
You know, they will react.
Let me pose it this way, because we're getting in the details of the meta, right? Which is really cool for, I'm sure, some people. But in terms of more broad stroke for the playoffs we're about to see and the Counter-Strike we saw in the groups, do we think Ancient provided excitement that we've been missing?
Yes.
There we go. Everybody?
100%.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's by far the best new map we've had introduced.
Up to
I think-
Vertigo.
No, I mean,
I like Vertigo.
No, but I
so
mean,
it's
we don't need to get into that. I think the first Vertigo was shit, but it's just about how much is being played.
Yeah.
You know, like if we saw it even in best of ones. When did we see, you know, or how much did we saw it 3 times? I think is best of ones, 2 for sure, maybe 3. I don't remember, but like, you know, that tells you that teams like the map so much, or even hate their permabans that much that they're willing to give Ancient a try, right? That it still sees playing time. We're still gonna do this for the playoffs.
Yeah.
We still didn't get around to that, but we're gonna see the percentages of the new maps at the first tournament, how much they were played. I think Ancient beats every other map by a large margin.
Wouldn't
The
surprise
map,
me.
the map is like really good. I can just say that the map needs a little bit of reworking. For me, the colors are not something I used to, like the green one, you know, a little bit, yeah. But map itself, it's a sick addition. I think it's gonna be refreshing, and it's gonna be used a lot.
Yeah. What do you reckon from like a casting standpoint? Because we played a lot of it, but obviously for us casting, it's like the naming is a whole thing.
You being able to do your commentary without having to go lane, lights.
Yeah, that sucks.
Other than that, I think it's great.
I actually did a top-down thing and I put some names on it. I haven't sent it to you yet. I'll send it to you and we can have a bit of a talk about that.
Yeah, and for
someone got the knickers in a twist on Reddit because we were calling it Lara.
Yeah, I think that's a good name.
No, but I'll get over it. Like,
Yeah.
I understand that you're upset because it's not what you have in your mind. But like you have to understand that, and I think someone replied in that thread.
It's a good
like,
reply.
Yeah, dude, we're all working it out. But it's not like I'm stubborn and I want to be responsible for the naming rights. Like if there's a universal call that everyone understands and recognizes, then it becomes that's how call outs are developed.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure that Kassad, you had to iron out a bunch that I left with the boys, right? Because some of the stuff
Oh,
that I
yeah.
used to do with the boys, what we would do is when there was a box that we didn't have a name for, I'd go for the most obscure thing possible,
Yeah,
right?
weird
Because
mix.
it sticks out,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know how. Yeah, at the time, like when the thing is, a lot of people don't understand that we came from a region where you could never get practice on overpass or cobble, right? And then you go into a major and you get 2 bans and the third map random, so you have to ban overpass and cobble and then you
the
get
turn
nuked,
map
right?
random.
And it's a single map. So like when we're playing those maps in Australia, nobody played behind certain boxes, so you didn't have names for it. Like you just didn't need it.
it's not a problem.
And then when you have to make it up on the flight, it's like, all right, boys, let's call this mushroom, right? And it's like, okay, mushroom, haha, mushroom, funny name, right? And then it sticks. What was
Yeah.
the worst one you had to get rid of?
Oh, that was a long time ago. I can't remember that. Probably something on Cobblestone.
Oh yeah, we had terrible names on
But
Cobble.
I think one more point for Ancient that I think Alex made a really good point on the cast for more of the.
Just sounds weird.
The pool's leaking.
Ah, okay. I was scared there for a second. No, I mean a really good point is for the casual people. That's why I always stay away from commenting on a map until the pro teams start playing it. Is like, yeah, people who are playing Ancient casually, just running around, right? Imagine going out on Mirage mid.
Yeah.
That's what Alex said. Is like without having a top mid or a window smoke, even on like who knows which level of matchmaking, right? It's a norm for everyone. Everyone does that. It has to be the same for the new map. Of course, if you go into some areas without using your utility properly, you're gonna get punished for it. You're gonna die very easily, right? So I think that's why people need to be a little bit patient. I think these games are helping a lot so that everyone watching can see, okay, this is something that these teams are using every single round.
Yeah.
So it's really important. Like if I don't do that, I'm probably gonna die because of it, right? So I think even the casual players are going to get much more attracted to Ancient when they just learn those some of the basic grenades that are being used on the
Yeah,
map.
I feel like it's also going. The map is like any other reactionary in a sense that, like cities, you want to take banana, all right, fine. I'm gonna take middle from you.
Sure.
You know, I'm gonna molly off half banana, just slow you down a little bit. I'm gonna take middle of you and gonna approach banana for mid side, and this truck is coming for us all.
Hello.
Ah,
It's the beers. They've arrived.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, as long as he doesn't stop there, I think we're all good. As I hold my breath. Okay.
Every time I get a valid point, there's a truck
flamey.
coming.
It's flamey. Look.
The thing is like it's just about reactions, you know. And if the people on extremities, let's say that A main, if the guy is gonna push the A guy on CT side off, he's gonna call a rotation at the beginning. If the three CTs go there, try to take banana, I'm just gonna take middle from you. I don't care if it's smoked. There's gonna be a set flash, pop flash, molly or something, and I'm gonna take it, you know. And then what you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, and then it's just a reaction. Remember,
And that-
like Inferno, like
Yeah,
Mirage, like
but that's
anything
the
else.
thing. The thing that's missing as well is the CT plays in a sense. So how many times do we
The micro
see
moves.
a B hit coming on Inferno, right, and a CT is just hiding behind triple, waiting for the rotate to come in with the flash. If
Yep.
you're just buying time and that flash pops, then he swings, gets a kill or two, stays alive, buys time, blah 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 blah. That's the stuff that we're missing right now from the CTs because they're still, you know, there's more important things basically to figure out. They still haven't gotten to it
Yeah.
in a
I
sense,
think,
and that's why sometimes these late like executes, you know, we saw FPX win a 4v5 against G2 with a basic execute towards B, right? Like if those CT plays were established already, that wouldn't have worked as good as it did for them in that situation, for example.
I feel like it's gonna go back all as well, like any other map, like fading smokes, you know, popping through things.
Yeah.
It's just you have the example, like you know how the CT start off with a molly on the right side, like on the middle, like he's just going down. How do you call it, temple or I don't know, yeah, the mid side of CT, like, and he just goes molly down. You can do the same thing like you do on Dust 2 on long. You just wait for the third second of a molly
Yeah.
or the last second, only put it out,
Explode
put flash,
and
and
go.
just explode,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's a play right there, you know.
Yeah, true.
And
It'll all develop as the meta.
it's like
yeah,
it's
okay.
gonna you're gonna
Yeah.
come to that point.
That's
But-
cool.
But the fact that, like, my final pin on this is that the fact that it's been received by community and professionals alike far better. Like, I really, like, I don't know why I took it so personally, but the fact that people were so vehemently against Vertigo and there's still people that are like super anti, like, oh, it's not Counter-Strike. It's like, dude, you can play Mirage as much as you want, but it's just that I'm bored of that.
Yeah, and
You
this
know,
is different.
like it's the same fucking
Yes.
game. Like, stop
Yeah.
complaining was my like defense mechanism about Vertigo. Seeing the fact that people have acknowledged A, this game needs change to continue to maintain its popularity, and B, we've got a great map, and if the more we accept it, the more we enjoy it. So
Yeah, I agree with Alex 100% because it's like it doesn't have to be every time the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to play every map. Oh, I'm just gonna do my default. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
middle. I'm gonna
FPS
force.
tactical shooters.
Yeah, it's just bullshit. I don't want to
Yeah.
play that. My players,
They're like, yeah,
let's fight.
Yeah.
Let's fight. Bring
Like,
it on. Let's
when
fight.
I was playing competitive Call of Duty 4 Pro Mod, our maps were designed with 3 lanes. That is the classic FPS tactical shooter. You have 3 lanes. You have
It's
middle,
simple. Yep.
you have an A and a B. Usually one of the two has a long period, an extremity that you have to contest or use utility for. That map design was thrown out the window for Nuke. You know, there is no such 3 lanes in Nuke, and that map is one of my favorites to
It's
watch.
great, yeah.
So like
Yeah.
throwing out the fundamentals to an extent, I think is necessary, and Vertigo did that as well. So I,
I
think
have a
we should
question
just
for you,
Stop getting
Kanol.
so upset.
It's like right now we lost Train, right?
Yep.
And we got Ancient. Train is the map that's really good for CIS teams.
yep.
All of them.
Except for
Nah.
VP.
It rewards their
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
That's true.
If Yakinder is
If
saying,
you, yeah, I don't know how he said that.
yeah, he was
Train wasn't
straight
very
up
good
bullshit.
for us.
Straight up bullshit, yeah.
What?
But he was like, it was a
He's
one of the
sandbagging. He's
best maps.
sandbagging.
He was trying to hype up Ancient so
Sure.
nobody picks it against them. It's fine. It's a nice try. The thing is, like, all CIS teams lost Train. They were all good on it. VP, Gambit, Navi, Spirit, especially beating Australis
Yeah.
in Kato. They
Yeah.
were really good. They got this new map. Are we gonna see CIS going like from here to there, even in this online era, because of that? Because they lost that map. We know they don't play new.
Well,
Some
I
don't play
have a-
Nuke and some don't play
I will
Vertigo.
just.
I have
if,
a
if
question.
I'm an underdog and I think I'm decent on Ancient, I'm straight up picking
Picking
that
it
against
against
Gambit.
this
Yeah,
is a question
yeah,
against
true.
you two guys, for you two guys as well. For me, the worst Ancient gameplay, quote unquote, we saw was the VP Spirit game.
Yes.
Like the FPX game and the Heroic game,
Made
they
some
looked
sense.
much more polished on the map compared to this game.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. No, I think that game there, like there was that game. The difference that I noticed mainly was the A executes was much more A heavy as opposed to the easy B mid round. They were going for the late round 5-man executes onto that A site, and it was much more clustery, and they were getting multi-fragged a lot more and all that stuff. And
It takes one deagle, dude. It takes one person just not being checked, and that whole A execute falls apart.
all right, let's
Shame for EG that they don't play Ancient. They could have straight up picked it against Gambit.
yeah.
No, I would have picked it. If I'm
Let's
the underdog,
let's do this.
100%.
Let's do this. Do we think Ancient will be played in the playoffs at all, other than the grand final?
What do you think?
I think it will be a third map.
Yeah.
Well, wait, I need
It
to
won't
think
be for
about
Vitality.
who Vitality
ban it,
perma
and
bans
EG
it.
will ban it.
Okay, so
So
not
it's in the
quarterfinals.
semis.
I'm gonna say no because all the teams right now that
I think
they,
Gambit G2. Well,
They're
I
just
don't
too
know.
safe.
No, not that game.
I agree. I don't
just
think
to say
Gambit and G2
G2
will risk.
will never leave it. You know, Gambit will. Why would Gambit?
They don't
leave
need
it?
to?
They don't. I don't need
Yeah,
to.
I don't think we'll see it. Yeah,
I'm just gonna remove it in
Only
the
time
second
we'll see this in the
stage.
grand final.
You know,
yeah.
let's
Well,
say
we had fun with it in the group stage.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
Good
nice
while it
while
lasted.
Nice while it lasted.
All right. That's. Are we done? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I'm gonna piss myself.
We can
so-
get out now. All right.
Right,
Nice.
I'm gonna belly flop in the hill.
Good job, everybody.